So let's talk about suffering. And suffering, I would define as all the things that we do to ourselves with our mind, emotions, body, energy levels, habits, automatic behaviors, things that we've learned from our family, from our schooling, from our education of all different kinds of things that end up working against us. It's mostly unconscious, it's mostly automatic, it's mostly things that you don't see. It's often a bid to solve some problem that you don't have anymore, or that you only had a solution when you were 5, which might be to stonewall or to space out or to procrastinate, things that might get in your way now that at the time gave you some kind of option. So one of the things I'm trying to do with my work, and I've built all these systems to help people do it, is to get people to reduce the suffering they have by slowly becoming more conscious of those things and then reprogramming themselves, sort of shutting off the computer, turning it back on again, and installing new programs that work in your favor rather than working against you. So we have pain on the one hand. Let's say you fall down the stairs and you're going to have a body hurting. That's going to be actual pain. The suffering would be something like, man, what an idiot. How did I do that? Everyone thinks I'm stupid. I've always been stupid. If I could just be smarter, things would work. But you see what I mean? Those are things that don't have to be there. Your mind is throwing them at you, probably because someone told you when you were younger that you're stupid, or stupid, or whatever the thing is. The actual pain is maybe you hit your head, or you hurt your knee, or you skinned your arm. That's actual pain signals coming in from your body. And so we want to kind of differentiate the two in our attention. Which one has to be there? And you can actually do something about that stuff too. And I have some methods to help with that. But you have that pain incoming signal. And then you also have this suffering that's coming in that your mind is kind of throwing at you. And then you'll have the emotions that go with it. So shame and guilt and a bunch of just emotions that will glob on to those ideas that we just had. Like, I'm stupid. Well, what do you feel when you say that to yourself? If you think about it for a minute, it's not hard to figure out. So you can reframe what you say to yourself and say, well, I'm not stupid. I just wasn't paying enough attention at that time. And next time I'll pay more attention. And here's 3 ways that I can do it. Every time I come up to a staircase, I'm going to pay attention and turn off my phone, perhaps something like that. So you actually create a system in your mind to make sure that you don't do it the next time. So what emotion are you going to have when you start to take actual steps to make sure that the problem doesn't happen again? It's going to build your confidence a little bit. It's at least going to stop that shame spiral that you're starting to develop. Now, that's hard to do in the moment. You kind of got to get ahead of it because you're used to doing something for a long time. So we want to change that up into some different ways of accomplishing things. But the point I'm really trying to get at here is the difference between what you probably think of as things that have to be there, which don't, which is that suffering, and some of the pain that, actually is there that you'll have to kind of block or stunt or heal in a different way. Suffering is with people all the time, and there's lots of cool ways to stop it. In fact, if you start to reduce that, you put some methods together that help you work with your mind and with your emotions and with your body and with your energy levels, you can feel better than you ever imagined. And the bulk of that is just stopping the things that are getting in your way. And then you can learn how to uptick everything, like lift them up so that everything is making you feel better all the time. Lots of cool methods I've built for that. I think about 25 now, and I've taught about 2 or 3% of them. So it's kind of my mission to try to teach that to as many people as I can. So the thing to think about for right now is to start becoming more aware of your mind, of your emotions, of your body, of things you do that don't make sense. And at first you just have to pay attention. They'll become kind of obvious if you start to look. You're like, wait a second, why did I say that to myself? That doesn't help. In fact, it just hurts. And you don't necessarily need to see where it came from, but sometimes you can think back and say, oh yeah, this is when my dad does things, or my mom does things, or the church does things, or the schooling does things, some kind of ingrained behavior that you picked up. Once you become aware of it, then you can start to shift it. And I have lots of ways to help you do that and to help you turn off the computer, kind of get all the programs to shut down and then turn back on. So it's one of the cool things key things I'm trying to do here. So follow for more tips on how to do that. I'm going to start teaching a lot more of them a lot quicker because I'm more and more excited to do it. I feel better now in my late 40s than I've ever felt in my life. Definitely, even as a kid or a teenager, I have more energy. I have clearer thinking. My emotions are way better regulated, and I feel much better than I ever have, particularly emotionally and energetically and in those realms. So I want to teach that to as many people as I can. So hopefully you'll stick around. We'll do more of that. Follow for more tips to feel better.